got so many questions and I did really not expect it. Thank you for all the questions though, that's really nice. Right, okay. Hi, welcome back to my channel, or just welcome if you've never been here before. I've had quite a few requests. Today's going to be a difficult one. I've had a few requests over the last few weeks to do videos, and quite a few of them have been about university related content. So this one is going to be a review of my first year at the University of Birmingham. I did not expect to be given so many questions, to be honest, so I'm going to try and answer them. I thought that I would try and split them into categories as well. No, I've just found, is that chocolate or bronzer? Either way, I'm not happy to have it on my white sheets. Anyway, I've tried to split them into categories as best as I can, starting off with my personal experience, then accommodation, cost, the degree and teaching, friends, society, clubs, sports kind of thing, city and campus, Freshers Week and homesickness. If there's like a category as such that takes more of your fancy than the other ones, then I'll put the time stamps on the screen now for like which section you can skip to. Let's get started then. So the first question I had was to do with like my personal experience. Why did you choose the University of Birmingham? So throwback to being in sixth form and you're doing like your UCAS application. Obviously you base like what uni you choose based on target grades, your predicted grades, and mine were A, B, and then an A in my EPQ. But originally I thought it was all going to be 3 Bs. So beforehand I was looking at universities such as Edge Hill, which was actually my insurance choice, Keele, I looked at Derby as well. But then when I found out that I was getting AAB, I was predicted AAB, then I thought, oh, well maybe I could look at some universities that are wanting higher entry requirements. So I did some Googling I knew I wanted to do psychology, so I did some Googling for good universities for psychology, and Birmingham came up as like 9th, I think it was, and they were wanting 3 As. So I spoke to the teacher that predicted me a B, and I said, do you think I could get an A? And she went, to be honest with you, it'll be very, very difficult. They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're... But nevertheless, I tried and I applied and I got a place, and they also, because of my EPQ and I was targeted an A in that, they said, if you get an A in your EPQ, then we'll lower the grades down to AAB for you. In terms of putting it as my firm choice, that's what it's called, firm choice, because I've never lived away from home before, we, as in me and my family, thought it'd be a good idea for me to go by myself and see if I was comfortable and happy to be there on my own. So for my offer holder day, I went by myself. I got a train from Lancaster to Birmingham and I did that whole day by myself. And it was actually really nice, and I could see myself studying there. It was really nice to go around. It definitely made me look at the university more and think about what it would be like studying there, because I would be by myself. So that's why I decided to go there and choose it. Next one, are you glad you chose UOB? I am. I can't imagine myself anywhere else. When I first put down my firm and insurance choice, I kind of thought, oh, maybe I would be happy at Edge Hill, maybe that would be better for me, it's closer to home. But now, like looking at where I am, I'm so glad I went to Birmingham, because I can't imagine myself anywhere else. It's definitely the place for me. So yeah, I'm glad I'm chosen UOB. What was your favourite moment of this year? Oh, that's hard. I don't actually know, I don't have one. It was nice when we found out that we got the house that we wanted to get, me and my friends. That was a nice day. But it's just all the moments where I was like in my flat with my flatmates and with the group of girls that I'm living with next year. I wasn't in a flat with them, but we like go round to one person's flat. I don't really have a one single favourite moment. Okay, moving on to accommodation. There was quite a few questions. No, there wasn't. There was just 3. So the first question was, did you like your accommodation? Overall, I did. I was in a partner accommodation. So at the University of Birmingham, there's the main student accommodation for the first years, the main bit of halls, which is called the Vale. I'll put a thingamajiggy on the screen. And basically that's where the majority of first year students are, and it's got like a 20-minute footpath link straight from the campus to the Vale. However, I wasn't put in there. It's like the process of receiving the accommodation you get is done randomly. You put down 6 preferences and you may not get any of those, or you may get one of the preferences you want. I was given an accommodation which wasn't on the Vale at all. They partnered up with like private companies, I guess. Yeah. One of the partner accommodations they work with is called Liberty Living. So I was shoved in one of those, and it was to show, I'll put a thing again on the screen to show you how far away I was from the Vale and just the uni in general. And it was just so far away from everything else to do with the university. It was quite isolated, I guess. But it was an ensuite. It was the cheapest ensuite there was. It was self-catered, which I wanted as well. The kitchen was, and like the living area was decent sized. I mean, if I wasn't put in there, then I wouldn't have met my flatmates that I got, and I wouldn't have met the friends I have now. Yeah, I liked my accommodation. It would have been nicer to be closer to the university, but it's one of those things. Kind of linking onto that is, how much did your accommodation cost? So, as I was saying before, the accommodation I got was the cheapest ensuite available for the University of Birmingham students. It was not cheap though. It was the cheapest, but it was not cheap. It was about £141 a week. Shared bathrooms are considerably cheaper. Next question is a good one, especially if you're going to be going into first year this time. I've heard getting accommodation for second year is stressful. Is it? There's definitely a lot of pressure to rush into it and get it all done really quickly as soon as you can. There's like a thing that goes round where you have to have, or it's best to get your accommodation before Christmas. I would kind of say that's true, just because people do, because of that kind of like thing, people do try and get the house before Christmas. It can be stressful, but it depends on how you go about it, I guess. I would say try and get it before Christmas, but if you can't, then it goes different for different universities. I know that some of my friends waited purposely until after Christmas before looking at accommodations, mainly because that's like what their universities did, / to make sure that they had the right group of friends, because it is kind of like scary and weird because, you know, you've been there for what, a month, 2 months, and all of a sudden you're having to choose who you're going to live with next year. It's kind of a weird one. So it works different for different universities, so I'd obviously check depending on where you're going. But for University of Birmingham, that's kind of like the thing where you get it before Christmas or very, very soon after Christmas. And we've got our house fairly easily. I would say make sure you got who you want to live with, and just don't try and fall into the trap of feeling really, really rushed to find a house. Take your time a little bit. Don't go slow as a sloth, but, you know, just think properly. Yeah, that was a really, really long-winded answer, but cost-wise, the questions I got on that was, is it expensive to live in Birmingham? How much does it cost to live for food and etc.? And then this one doesn't really link with cost, but I didn't know where else to put it. So it's what kind of meals and food you typically have while balancing uni life. Because of the University of Birmingham is not in the city centre, it's like Edgbaston way, or it is in Edgbaston. so it kind of helps in the fact that you're not amongst the city centre shops and restaurants and things like that to spend all your money on. However, for me, using Ubers to get around is expensive. There is, however, the uni hop bus, which is really good because that's just £1. Like from, say, town to the uni is just £1, and then uni to town is £1 as well. So that's pretty good. You just have to show your ID card when you get on the bus. I mean, I was lucky in the fact that Liberty Court was literally a 5-minute walk from Aldi. So in terms of like how much does it cost to live, I spent about £65 a week. It obviously depended on what I did because that was for everything: food, going out, treats. £65 was what I roughly spent each week. So whether that's expensive or not, I don't know. I'd say Birmingham's definitely more expensive than it is Lancaster, but obviously compared to other places it may not be as expensive depending on where you shop. Like for me, I could use Aldi, so I could make my food shop like 15-20 quid for a week, so that's really good. Whereas if like you went to Sainsbury's or Tesco, it would obviously be more expensive. So yeah, it kind of depends. It can be expensive, but you can budget it well. I feel like university is definitely a whole massive like game of budgeting. And in terms of meals and food that I typically have, I'm going to be awful answering this question because my diet is just so bad. I'm not a very good eater. I've never been a fan of breakfast, so I kind of just didn't bother. So if I ever had like a 9 a.m. lecture or 10 or 11, love it when my camera cuts out, I go to Ali for my shopping for the week, and I got these chocolate croissant things that come in individually wrapped, and I'd basically take one of those for me for uni because I found that breakfast always makes me feel a bit sick. I've never been a breakfast person ever in my life. So I'd take one of those for later on in the morning. For my tea, one night I'll have pasta, and I'll do like an extra portion and then shove that in a box, put it in the fridge, and then take it for my lunch the following day. Why can't I think what I ate? Sandwiches. Sometimes I wouldn't really have much of a lunch and I kind of just take snacky things if like my lectures were in the afternoon. For my evening meal, the variety of food is very, very little because I'm quite a fussy eater anyway. The main meals I can think of that I would rotate would be pizza, a stir fry, pasta, oven food of any kind, chips, chicken nuggets, waffles, fish fingers, any oven food is your friend, to be honest. So that would be the poor diet I had whilst at uni. Yeah, I'm not really one to give a good answer for that question, sorry. Okay, moving on to my course. I do psychology, if you didn't know already. And the question was, what was your first impression of your course? My first impression of the course was that it was just going to be A-level repeated for like this first year anyway. It was basically A-level repeated, but then it expanded with more information. So my first impression was that it was literally just going to be A-level repeated, but then I kind of learned quite quickly that it was put to a higher level, which makes sense because it is higher education. Okay, moving on to friends, societies, clubs, sport things. Most of the questions I got for this were like making friends. First question, was it hard making friends? I didn't find it hard to make friends. The question that like follows this, which is probably just going to end up getting answered whilst I do this one, was how did you meet all of your uni mates? So one way I met my friends was before I even went to the uni, I got put in a group chat, or I joined a group chat for psychology at the uni, and that was before results day, so I didn't even know if I was going to Birmingham at this point. So people started like chatting and getting to know each other on there. And then once I found out that I got into Birmingham and I found out what accommodation I was going to, there was also a group chat for that as well. So that's where I found out who I was living with. One girl in particular was like the person I'm living with next year, and she was the one I met through that group chat. So when I moved in, like I knew who people were already, so it was quite easy to like make friends because you'd spoken already on WhatsApp or Facebook. So if you're going to uni I'd definitely join your course group chat and your accommodation group chat if you can, because it does help for making friends and like familiarising yourself with people before you even get there. The other way I met my friends was literally for the people I was living with. I lived in a flat of 5 people, and then I met more friends through them as well. In terms of societies and clubs, there's literally so many societies. I joined the Psychology Society, obviously, and I joined the Dance Society as well. I considered joining like the Gin Society and the Cocktail Society, but I didn't bother in the end, because it does cost to have a membership. So it was £5 to get like a Gin Society membership, and it was £5 to do the Dance Society. I think it was £5 to do the Psychology one as well. So I just joined 2. For the Dance Society, there was shows. Well, there was going to be a show, but it got cancelled because of coronavirus. So thank you, Corona, for that. Really appreciate it. But there was classes each week, different genres of dance, which was really nice. And the classes for members was only £2, whereas if you weren't a member, it would be £3. And for the Psychology Society, I got to be able to get a qualification in mental health first aid, which was really cool. They got the discount, well, a discount off that course price. So I'm actually a qualified mental health first aider. I would definitely recommend joining a society or 2, maybe even 3. As for sports, I don't do sports, but I did join the gym. My friends do sports though. There's hockey, netball, football, rugby, fencing. There's all sorts of sports. Okay, moving on to city. What is the city like? Is it nice? Again, because my uni's like out of the city, and because my accommodation was quite isolated and wasn't near the uni or the city, I didn't actually go into the city very often unless it was for like a night out or I needed something from a shop that wasn't near, like that I couldn't get from Aldi, for example, like shampoo. But it is a nice city, I would say so. It's good for shopping. Like my mum came to visit and we did some shopping together, and that was really nice. Christmas markets were great. I did that with both my mum and some friends. My first year got cut short. Coronavirus! So it would have been nice to experience the city and just uni life in general during the spring, summer time, but coronavirus! But from what I do know, it is a really nice city and I like it a lot. Is the nightlife good? Okay, so nightlife can be good as long as you've got the right people with you, and also if you're in the right headspace to enjoy yourself. I'd say in terms of clubs, Prism I don't like at all. Some people absolutely love it though, but I do not like Prism. If I was going to like order them in what I prefer, I'd probably say Snobs, Players, Rosies, anything, and then Prism. Okay, campus. What is the campus like? I'll put a map on the screen of what it's like. It's quite big and it's kind of spread out, but not too spread out. It's a nice campus, I really like it. Obviously we've got Old Joe, and that's kind of like if you're going to get lost, if you just go towards where Old Joe is, you know that's going to be like the middle of the campus and you can start all over again. But also we do have an app for the campus, so it can give you directions to whatever building you're wanting to go to, which is really useful. It sounds really sad, but I really like going to the teaching and learning building and the library, just because they are just nice environments to sit and work in with either friends or just by yourself. Okay, Freshers Week. How was Freshers Week? Was like the start one, and what was it like? Freshers Week for me was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I felt very homesick. I was very out of my depth and I didn't really know what to do. But at the same time, it was really nice because I was meeting these people that I'd been speaking to on group chats, and it was like the start of this really weird, cool chapter in my life. During Freshers Week, they have like welcome events and things on the campus during the day, and then obviously in the night you go out to clubs. It was good, but it was definitely an emotional roller coaster. Is Freshers Week as good as people make it out to be? A lot of people try and make Freshers Week sound like it's the best time of your life. That doesn't have to be true at all, and I would say it's not true, because it's a new experience. Like living in halls, uni education in general is a lot different to A-level and any teaching you've had before that. It can be, obviously, depending on what you make of it, but it definitely doesn't have to be. You know, it's okay to like sit and cry in your room if you want to because you miss home or you're just not really enjoying yourself. Okay, moving on to homesickness. One of the questions I got was, what did you miss the most about being away from home? I would definitely say having my family around me constantly. Even though we're not together all the time, we are quite a close family, so not having them around was very odd and very difficult for me, so they were definitely the people I missed the most. And then the next two questions was, how did you deal with homesickness and how did you cope being away from home? I cried a lot, to be honest. I cried, but also FaceTime was an absolute godsend because it just helped a lot being able to see my mum's and my dad's face. Yeah, that was probably the way I coped, was just cry if I needed to, talk to my friends. Next question, how often did you travel home? So for the first term, between September and Christmas, I did not go home at all. Me and my family thought it would be better for me to not do that, like not to come home, so then I could get used to being away from home and not, we felt that if I came back during that term and had like home comforts again, then it would make it even more difficult to go back and it would just not help with settling. So I didn't actually go home at all between September and Christmas. Then I came home once during the following term between Christmas and Easter for my sister's birthday. Her birthday's in February, so I came home for the weekend for that and we went out for a meal, which was nice. And that was it. Tips you give to someone going to uni or moving out on your own and meeting new people. I'll probably do more details about moving out and like things you'll need and things like that in another video, but general tips briefly, I would say you don't need as much as you think. In terms of like moving out on your own, try not to think of it as daunting as you may feel like it's going to be. Meeting new people, you kind of have to just chuck yourself in there a bit, you know. You're going to be really outside your comfort zone, but I think you'll be surprised at the people you meet and how close you can get to those people within such a short amount of time when you do just hang out with them in the kitchen whilst you're making tea, or like say, oh, do you want to have a movie night in the flat or something like that. Charlie, why is Uni of Manchester so much better than University of Birmingham? No comment. UOB's better. When will the love of my life write a Brumfest about me? Grace, one day your prince will come. But I don't think it'll be through Brumfest. Okay, I think that was every single question that I got. I hope this video was not too waffly. Thank you for watching if you did make it all the way to the end, or if you just like skipped a few bits. And I'll see you in another video.